Liverpool are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points clear, top of the Premier League. If Arsenal do not beat Chelsea, they're 10 points clear of Arsenal. And I tell you what, Liverpool have had a bit of a difficult run. Aston Villa, Brighton, they're games where, people do drop points. City drop points to Brighton today. And Liverpool won both of those games. They've taken advantage of City falling off and dropping points. They've taken advantage of Arsenal not looking their best in recent games. And I am seriously worried now that Liverpool can win the Premier League. I think surely they'll strengthen in January. Surely they'll have the budget for that. I feel like they're getting better. They're learning more about sort of system. They look better than Arsenal. They look better than Manchester City. In fact, I think Chelsea have probably looked the second best team on the eye after Liverpool this season. And they beat Aston Villa. And what was a game where Kelleher had to make some saves? It wasn't the easiest game. But they beat Villa 2-0. They did enough to win the game. Yeah, Villa probably could have got a goal. And they're saying a massive, massive statement to the rest of the Premier League. Everyone slept at Liverpool beginning of the season. I thought they'd finish third, but you have people like Gary Neville not even putting them in the top four, which I think was a little bit disrespectful because I think when you look at Liverpool and the players they had, I think Slot was going to get them in the top four, even without a transfer window. I just felt that there was good quality in the squad. But I'm hating this. They've been absolutely fantastic this season. 15 wins in 17 games under Arne Slot. Arne Slot comes into Liverpool. He comes into a job that I don't think many people wanted to take, and people sort of making jokes. I remember at the beginning of the season that Arne Slot could be the next David Moyes because David Moyes came in for Fergie. David Moyes only got this one signing at the end in Fellaini. Arne Slot comes in for Klopp. Then they get this one signing at the end in Chiesa, who's not really played for Liverpool yet. And there was a lot of comparisons. He's going to be another David Moyes. I think a lot of people were scared to take that Liverpool job, to take over after Klopp. And you've got to give Liverpool's recruitment absolute credit for that, because Liverpool's recruitment for Slot, Klopp, similar principles, they got a decision right with Slot. But Slot was brave to take that job, and he's done a fantastic job. And by the way, guys, I want to talk about Gravenberch. I want to talk about Curtis Jones. I want to talk about Mohamed Salah, and I want to talk about Konate in this video. They're the four players I'm going to touch upon in detail because I thought all four of those players were fantastic versus Aston Villa. I want to talk about Liverpool's midfield, Salah, the contract situation. But we have to talk by talking about Slot. This is the best start in history for a Liverpool manager. They're top of the Champions League. They have the least goals conceded in the Premier League. 15 wins in 17 games. He's had no Alisson, no Jota, no Chiesa, and now Trent is injured because people talk about Liverpool and City injuries, Arsenal City injuries, but Liverpool have also had injuries, and they've played some tough games. And before I get into my general thoughts, I think we have to talk about Mo Salah, probably man of the match today. Goal, assist, fantastic assist. I honestly thought Darwin Nunez was going to mess up that first goal with the touch. He's got 10 goals and 10 assists already this season. Double figures for goals and assists. That is not normal. But the thing is, this is something that Salah does regularly. Look at this here. Look at Salah's stats nearly every season. People don't rate Salah. Some people don't rate Salah. He's not as aesthetically pleasing as Foden or Hazard. I'm sorry, but if a player for 7 seasons straight at Liverpool is putting up ridiculous numbers where like his lowest goal contribution year, you're looking at 36 goal contributions in a single year, is his lowest at Liverpool. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous from Mohamed Salah, these numbers. It's not normal, and it's consistently not normal in terms of its good numbers. I get into detail here. I saw this tweet. Mo Salah has 10 goals and 10 assists in 17 games for Liverpool this season. That is by far the quickest any players reached double figures for both goals and assists in Liverpool in the last 40 seasons. The previous fastest was Suarez in 23 appearances in the 13-14 season. It is crazy. He didn't even make the Ballon d'Or list. But I've always said this, the Ballon d'Or is a PR award. It's like who they think is the nicest. Marcus Rashford in Ten Hag's first season got 45 goal contributions. Vinicius Jr. last season got 41 goal contributions, playing for a much better Real Madrid side, and had a massive tantrum that Rodri won the Ballon d'Or. Mo Salah, should be nominated for the Ballon d'Or. I'm not saying he should win it, but if you've got a 30-man shortlist, Marcus Rashford didn't make that 2 seasons ago because Marcus Rashford is a player that people like to hate on as soon as he's bad. Mo Salah's levels ahead of Marcus Rashford, and Mo Salah isn't making that list this last year. I don't think he had his best season. I don't think he would have won it. But he's very disrespected as a player because it's not normal for a player to get his numbers. But I feel like if a player plays for Real Madrid and they get their numbers, they're a Ballon d'Or contender. Because I'll say this now, Real Madrid, Barcelona, when it comes to awards, they just have that extra sort of PR where if they do it at Real Madrid or Barcelona, it gets more attention. But Salah's been doing it in the most difficult league at Liverpool for a while. It's ridiculous, his levels. But let me share my thoughts on the game. I do want to talk into detail about Jones, Gravenberch, and Konate. Konate, man. What a monster. You know what? At least he's getting me FPL points with the clean sheets. So I wrote these in my notes. Liverpool are showing their real deal with wins against tough Premier League opponents. Villa and Brighton were the last 2 games. There is such easy games to drop points in the title race. And obviously, I think with the Premier League, with the level that City have been at, and even Arsenal the last 2 seasons, it's almost like you've got to win every game now in the title race because the title race can go to near 100 points. And Villa and Brighton, they're games where sometimes it makes the difference because they're going to be the toughest games outside the traditional top 6. Villa, Brighton, Newcastle, I say the 3 toughest games you'll have outside the traditional top 6. Newcastle took points off City. Newcastle took points off Tottenham. Newcastle took points off Arsenal. And if you're winning those games, boom. You know, Brighton are taking points off Arsenal. Brighton are taking points off City, Tottenham, Manchester United. Continue. Villa haven't so much, but they're the games that you've got to win. And then against the top 6 sides, you've got to beat them at home and try and get a result away. But look, I think people talk and say, like, Liverpool haven't been tested, but I think Liverpool have been tested. Villa Brighton, I think, is still a test. They might not be traditional top 6, but they're better than Man United at the moment. And I'm saying this as a Man United fan. Arsenal draw, Chelsea win, Leverkusen 4-0 smash them, United, Leipzig, Milan. I think Liverpool have been tested. They had no Alisson. Kelleher was fantastic today. Villa did not make the game easy. I think Villa, they had some dangerous corners. Kelleher had to make some good saves. I think they had Liverpool on edge. I think Villa could have scored a goal. Maybe the momentum could have changed, but I did think that Liverpool did enough to win the game. But I look at this, 9 clean sheets and 15 wins in 17 games. 9 clean sheets, 15 wins. They have the least XG against conceded as well. The numbers they're getting is ridiculous. And Liverpool have faced some strong opposition now. I think Konate and Van Dijk, in terms of their off-the-ball abilities, in terms of their physical abilities, is cheat code. I think the midfield trio of Jones, McAllister, Gravenberch has been really impressive. I want to talk about Curtis Jones. I think Szoboszlai, I think Szoboszlai is misunderstood in terms of the profile of player that he is, but I do think that Jones has provided something that is a bit more valuable than Szoboszlai to that midfield 3. I thought Robertson, who's had hit and miss season, I think had one of his best games. And Trent come off injured, and Conor Bradley has to fill in for the best right back in the world. And I think he did incredible again. And Conor Bradley, there's always the question, was he going to be a Brandon Williams where Trent gets injured, he plays for a couple of weeks, he's really good for those couple of weeks, people are impressed. But then ultimately when Trent comes back, which in the Man United's case was Luke Shaw, and his minutes are kind of here and there, would he still be able to keep that level, or was he going to do a Brandon Williams and fell off? And Conor Bradley's not done a Brandon Williams and fell off. Every time he plays, whether it's regularly, whether it's coming in for Trent here and there, he's fantastic, and what a backup right back you have there. But let's talk about Ryan Gravenberch, who I'd say has probably been Liverpool's best player this season. I think Konate is a close second. Won the most fouls in midfield 2. Won the most duels in midfield 6. Most dribbles completed 3. Most interceptions 4. And 91% pass completion. What a performance from Ryan Gravenberch today. What a performance. And you know me, if you go through my Twitter, about 50 tweets from 2 years ago saying United should look to sign Ryan Gravenberch. Man United should sign Ryan Gravenberch. Man United fin in midfield. We need technically good players. We should sign Ryan Gravenberch. He goes to Liverpool. But what a performance that was from today. And do you know what? Ryan Gravenberch didn't stand out for me today. Do you know why he didn't stand out? Because he's been doing that all season. He's been that good all season that it's not like it caught my eye like it used to. And that is what you want. You want a player to be performing at that level every game to the point where you're used to it. So it almost doesn't stand out. And that's what Ryan Gravenberch's been doing. Consistency. For me, these were some notes I wrote on him. One of the best players in the Premier League when it comes to being under pressure. Press resistance, receiving the ball in tight areas, receiving the ball angles, touch, turn, ability to use his body to turn away from players, one of the best in the league. Really good technical ability, accurate passing, great touch, movement, ball progression, dual strength, expansive coverage. I think he's got it all. I think he's very good at dual winning. I think he's very good at covering ground. I think his ball progression is fantastic. his movement and understanding of the game, the way he runs into the pockets to receive the ball, even if he's in a tight space, he always creates a pass for a teammate, which helps Liverpool progression and keeping the ball. And I think having Gravenberch, McAllister and Curtis Jones, 3 players that are very technically able on the ball to receive the ball at all angles, run into the space, make themselves available for the pass. It makes Liverpool less predictable in midfield. It makes Liverpool move the ball around better in midfield, break those lines, which means the attackers are going to get the ball in better areas. And I feel that Liverpool have gone from this midfield free of workhorses to this midfield free of technical players that are doing really good movement off the ball. And I think Slot deserves a lot of credit for getting the best out of Gravenberch, but also taking the risk and playing him in the deeper midfield role, because we know Slot wouldn't want someone like Endo who has some limitations on the ball. He wants someone that's good on the ball, and he's seen how good Gravenberch is, obviously Ajax Academy player, at receiving the ball under pressure, breaking the lines, but also he's always been known, and Gravenberch's best attribute will always be ball carrying. But he's seen that, and he can see that he evades the pressure in his passing's top drawer. But the question mark, and I did a video back in summer when Slot came in about could Gravenberch be the 6 on the slot, and I said the big question will be his defensive awareness, his positional sense. But I think constantly I'm seeing him in the key areas to protect the defence. And Liverpool have got a really good defensive record, which a lot of it comes down to Konate and Van Dijk. But I'm seeing Gravenberch switched on. I'm seeing him on it. And him and Curtis Jones and McAllister is looking like this really, really good blend. Another player that's probably been Liverpool's second best player after Gravenberch is Konate. Konate has the best success rate of any player to contest 50-plus duels in the Premier League this season at 73.44. He is a monstrous box defender. He's good on the ball, but when you think of an off-the-ball defender, if you describe the perfect defender off the ball, just someone like everything they did off the ball, you can't beat Konate. Konate's stats today, 5 out of 5 duels won, Morgan, Rogers, Watkins, that's a difficult game. Watkins did not have a sniff today, clean sheet, 4 clearances, 2 interceptions, 100% tackle success rate. Konate is hitting that Van Dijk level this season. He's been that good. And I think physically, because he's fast, because he's strong, because he's good in the air, because he's intelligent, because he can anticipate danger well, he can deal with any forward. I think him and Virgil van Dijk as a physical pairing out possession. They're tall, they're going to win it in the box, they're going to win it on the head. They're fast, they read the game well, they're strong. When it comes to wide channel defending, Konate can catch you up. You can't outrun them, you can't outstrength them, you can't beat them in the air. When it comes to out of possession, they've been monstrous for Liverpool. Off the ball, Konate is a joke. On the ball, very talented. When I say he's a joke off the ball, he's just one of the best in the world off the ball. On the ball, he's very talented. I could name 10 centre-backs in the Premier League that I think are better than him on the ball, but I don't think I could name a Premier League centre-back that's better than him off the ball. And I think this season, he's been the best centre-back in the Premier League. Like, if I'm looking at my Premier League team of the season, I'll go Konate and Levi Colwill. Levi Colwill's been the best on the ball this season. Konate's been the best off the ball this season. Generally would. Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones made more ball recovery 7 and 1 more duels 5 against Aston Villa than any other player during his time on the pitch. He's been fantastic. He came on that Chelsea game, was fantastic. Been really good for Liverpool. Stepped up to the occasion. He wins back the ball. He wins his duels, but he's a player that I think is known for what he does on the ball. These are some notes on Curtis Jones. Setting the tempo, knows when to push forward, knows when to conserve energy, knows how to sort of make the game speed up and slow down. He's got an ability to set tempo. I think he's got that energy. I thought he can fuel the press. He can help Liverpool have that momentum and press high and get going forward. I think he's versatile. He can press. He's very good at driving the ball forward. He's actually probably more physically commanding than you think. I think he can shield the ball really well. As you can see, he won a couple of fouls. I think Tielemann's got the yellow on him. His ability to shield the ball, retain the ball in tight areas. Some people might see it slowing down the ball, but I see it as him keeping the ball, which is what a manager will want. I think Slot is a little bit slower in some of his approaches than Klopp would have been. But I think he's been Liverpool's most influential midfielder this season. I think on the ball, it's the composure. I think it's his press, but I also think his ability to break the press with his passes, which is good, and he's someone that will maintain possession, and that's a very good asset to have. And then going into my final point, because everyone keeps talking about Arsenal injuries, City injuries. Shota and Alisson are huge injuries. And I think Harvey Elliott would have a good role. And I think Chiesa could be a good player to come off the bench. But I think Liverpool have had injuries. Of course, they haven't missed Salah or Van Dijk or Konate yet, who I think are 3 of the most key players. I think Gravenberch, Salah, Van Dijk, Konate are probably some of Liverpool's most key players, because at least Trent, you can replace him with Bradley. Whereas I think there is a drop-off with Salah no matter who you go to. I think Joe Gomez and Kwanzaa can do a job, but Konate and Van Dijk are a pairing. But Liverpool have been hit with injuries, and look, they could win the league. I kind of need Arsenal to win. to get back on track, maybe. But then I don't want Arsenal to win. I just don't want Liverpool to win the league. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts. Bye.